Welcome TikiTube, I'm your host Jesse Locke. Let's get right to it. On today's episode, we are talking to Kingsley all the way from Finland. There's his picture, I hope, if I did it correctly. What comes to mind when I say travel videos? Travel. Well, this guy dominates that. Kingsley's from Finland, he went to Norway. Synergy. This guy is on point with that fresh, new stuff. Kingsley, let's do it.
I started to watch a lot of these like travel style videos, right?
Right.
And before, I'd say again around that time when I started, I looked and I remember thinking how impossible this stuff looked. You know, the transitions, all of that stuff, because I love to do like cool transitions, and you know, like I'm a freak for that stuff. So yeah, so I remember thinking how impossible. I even felt so overwhelmed to even comprehend where they started, how you even get the, you know, the vision for that sort of stuff. So then I made it my mission to like find this out, you know, like how because they've proven it's possible, so it must be possible. So so yeah, then one step at a time, you know, one like effect at a time, I went, and then you start to like use those effects in combinations, and then you start to see patterns, you start to realize the patterns, and then you can kind of see, then the patterns become more visible in their work, you know. So what was impossible to you a year ago is now you can literally see it like an X-ray, you know, you can literally see what effects were used then.
When you hear like some music, does music inspire you visually? How does that work for you?
Yeah. There are certain songs that I hear that straight away I know what the visuals are going to look like, you know, like there's no way around it. I know certain locations need that song, you know, like, or they require a song. And it's kind of like an unlocking thing in my head. Like I'll hear it and I'll be like, that would be great in Hawaii. I'm going to save it for Hawaii if I ever go in my life. And then I know when I get there, then it'll be a lot more sentimental for me as well, because I've had it in my head and I'm like more motivated and passionate to create it, you know. And so like, yeah, so that's why the Norway as well. Like I also create on the basis for myself as well. Like a lot of this is more sentimental to me than you know, doing it for money or all of that stuff, you know. So like I said, I started off just to be able to watch these in like 20, 30 years from now, and how cool it'd be to look, you know, watch your life back or something. Right now, I'm using the Sony A7 Mark II, and I have a 16mm Sigma f1.4 lens and a 50mm f1.4 as well. Anyone can buy an expensive camera and like, you know, film in that 8K or whatever, you know. You know, it always looks good and there's no denying that. But as the editing is where the real skill is at, I believe.
Your transitions are like high end, like they're very well thought out and they're well done. Like the rock and like in the Norway edit, like I'm like, oh, that's a really cool idea,
yeah.
high concept. Just to kind of walk me through that inspiration there in your process there with them.
Yeah, so the trick with transitions is, and this is what was very overwhelming to me when I began, was it's not enough to think about the first transition or one transition at a time, because more than likely, a lot of these transitions are linked, you know, and you have to film in a way that it can just flow, you know. So you always have to keep in mind the next transition when you're filming the transition, just in case, because you never know, it might look better, you might not use it, you know. So it's always good to have more footage than less, or film in a way that has more potential than less potential, you know. So yeah, that's the way I do always think with my transitions, because the transition, for example, like the rock, me throwing the rock into the camera, or the bird's eye view, like that came at the very end of the video, but I had to know about that transition before I even filmed the video. So I saw it in some video somewhere, or like a similar concept, and I figured out how they did it, and I was like, okay, cool, I'm gonna have this at some point in the video or towards the end, you know. So I had to like think, okay, how can it go from that? What will lead up to the rock? You know, I had to think of it like that. You know, what will lead up to these transitions? It has to make sense. Right. So yeah, so that's the way I think about it. You know,
when you're filming, you're actively thinking about a transitional shot that will then take you to another place?
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, that's like
I always. Yeah.
Yeah.
I try and end my shots in a way, like, for example, like I'll be filming like this. I can, like, let's say the shot might end here and that's enough for the shot. But out of practice and good habit, I always just try and end it like this, maybe, you know, and then start the next shot like this. And it's an automatic transition, you know, those ones that, you know, like it's just habit. Like I always have it, or I just film twice, one with and one without. You never know when you're going to use it. Anyone that's watching and, you know, likes, for example, transitions, like that was something for me that was probably the most overwhelming thing about, you know, starting this. It's about just like tackling one aspect at a time. Like you said, there's a lot of different parts of transitions. You've got the movement, you've got objects, you've got this and that, you know. When you try and do all at once, your head will literally explode. Like, I'm telling you, like your brains will fry. It's impossible. Like you literally have to nail one. Like you have to nail one after the other, you know, like that, you know. So it's that type of thing, you know. And then you start mixing them. You don't. I attempt to do all of them at once, and it doesn't work. You know, yeah. So yeah, at least that was the biggest thing for me in terms of editing and filming. So
thank you so much for watching. Keep filming. Keep getting creative. Keep writing down ideas. Keep listening to music. Keep getting all that creative juice flowing. Do it!